Air travel has become a hellish nightmare.
Emergency, emergency, emergency! They're on fire!
According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, there were nearly 97,000 complaints from travelers in 2023, an increase of 11,000 complaints from the year before.
Passengers were thrown out of their seats after the airplane encountered severe turbulence.
The airline canceled more than 15,000 flights.
In the last year, there have been fires during takeoff, increased risks of runway collisions, fatal turbulence, mechanical errors, international system outages that canceled tens of thousands of flights and stranded angry passengers at airports.
They canceled 3 of my flights, said it was plain mechanical issues.
I have no flight, no way of getting to where I need to go.
So what's the deal with flying? More hassles, bigger safety concerns? The industry is in a nosedive. How, if ever, can it return to flying the friendly skies?
So what we've been seeing certainly in the recent past are these incidents, whether tires are falling off airplanes or panels being blown out, or some of these issues with lithium batteries, computers catching on fire.
Evacuate! Evacuate! Evacuate!
Evacuate now!
Go, 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 go!
Leave your stuff! Get out!
Get out! Get out!
Get out!
And passengers, understandably, are concerned when they see these things, especially since we have a lot of social media now and they get to be in the news.
It's not just viral videos, though. Who could forget the blue screen of death? Back in July, a catastrophic global IT outage zapped 8 million software systems and grounded flights worldwide.
The outage started overnight, and it ultimately led the FAA to put in place the first nationwide ground stop since 9/11.
This is insane, man. This is going to be traumatized, especially with 3 kids.
All of this stemming from a cybersecurity firm called CrowdStrike.
We're seeing that ripple effect of delays and cancellations all across the country.
The fallout was disastrous. For instance, Delta Airlines CEO Ed Bastian said the mass outage cost them $500 million in lost revenue and compensation to passengers, as their systems took several days to reconnect and thousands of flights were affected.
The incident with respect to CrowdStrike and the IT issue, we saw delays, we saw significant cancellations, and passengers certainly being very upset.
Several passengers also filed class action lawsuits, suing Delta Airlines for neglect and mismanaged operations, 2 weeks after systems had reportedly been restored.
But this class action claims that the CrowdStrike outage impacted the Delta passengers in a disastrous way. And Delta, they say, has not offered adequate refunds or reimbursement.
Paul Hudson is the president of Flyers Rights, a nonprofit advocacy group for airline passengers.
When you have no regulation for computer systems, no stress testing, and we have really no national standards for software that is used to regulate the systems, you're going to have these kind of problems, and they're only going to get worse.
Even if you tune out the news, flying can still feel like a roller coaster of travelers' worst fears.
Substantial cracks and damage to the plane's ceiling were visible. 36 people hurt. 11 of them had to be hospitalized. CBS News reports you can expect more incidents like this thanks to climate change.
Turbulence is caused by a sudden shift in airflow over the aircraft, a phenomenon known as clear air turbulence being the most erratic and hazardous for passengers on board. A 2024 study conducted by atmospheric scientists reported a 55% increase in clear air turbulence between 1979 and 2020 due to climate change. Scientists and aviation safety regulators are working to better understand and predict severe weather and unexpected air conditions.
Because of the global warming, we're seeing severe thunderstorms happening in different places, but we do see other instances with clear air turbulence in particular. Those are severe and those will jolt the airplane, and if you're not strapped, you will certainly be thrown about and will cause injuries.
Mechanical issues have also been a huge problem for the industry, and one company in particular has been in a total tailspin.
A Boeing 727 makes an emergency landing in Aruba after one of the engines caught on fire.
Plane door blew out midair just in front of his seat back in January.
Safety and quality concerns with Boeing jets after a series of terrifying events sparked panic mid-flight.
Global aerospace company Boeing has come under scrutiny for safety incidents, crashes, and mismanagement. Boeing aircrafts have also made headlines for potentially fatal mechanical errors that have resulted in panels being blown off mid-flight, engine malfunctions, and emergency landings.
The FAA is now working very closely with the airlines to make sure that there is a clear understanding as to why these incidents are happening, making sure there's an understanding of the root causes and making sure that those root causes are addressed. So that is going to be important moving forward.
We represent passengers on safety issues before the FAA. We were very much involved in the MAX crash situations, the terrible design that Boeing came out with that caused these crashes. What we can do for people individually is if they have a mechanical issue that they think is a safety danger, whether it's a consumer issue, which goes to the DOT, or a safety issue, which generally goes to FAA, they can send us a copy of their complaint, and we can help follow up on that. The airlines are supposed to respond within 30 days.
But as problems are mounting, why does it feel like we are paying more than ever before for bad service?
There's two factors that are pushing them up. Their number one cost is labor. As the wages have gone up for all airline employees, particularly for flight crews, that's pushing the price of tickets to go up. The number two expense of airlines is fuel. And this is particularly the case for long-haul flights, where it's actually number one. The price of jet fuel went way up during COVID. It's now come down somewhat, but it's not nearly what it was prior to COVID.
Another major factor is a staffing shortage, an aspect that also contributes to overall industry safety. As of this year, there is a nationwide shortage of about 3,000 air traffic controllers, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. This shortage often contributes to dangerous situations for aircrafts and passengers.
The FAA warning that a major staffing shortage of air traffic controllers could fuel delays and canceled flights.
With air traffic controllers in the U.S., we've seen a shortage at a number of facilities. This is certainly concerning because the air traffic controllers are working multiple shifts, consecutive shifts, and that is really not very good from a fatigue standpoint. It is important that the facilities are staffed to the right levels because the air travel really surging with respect to holidays and vacations. There's a lot of traffic, and it is important that facilities are staffed to the full capacity to be able to handle that capacity and that traffic demand.
The industry worker shortage can also lead to increased risks of ground collisions.
Over the last several months, the government has reported close calls between jets at airports in New York, Austin, and Boston. Tomorrow, the FAA is going to hold that safety summit you were talking about to address what some fear may be a growing and potentially deadly trend.
In January 2024, a Japan Airlines commercial flight carrying 379 passengers collided with a Coast Guard aircraft. Though the passengers aboard the commercial flight were unharmed, 5 crew members from the Coast Guard jet did not survive.
Just over the past several months, the Flight Safety Foundation has been working with more than 80 organizations around the world, coming up with a specific plan to prevent the recurrence of runway incursions. This is a global initiative that a foundation is leading and is coming up with recommendations and specific methods to reduce and in many cases eliminate altogether the risk of runway incursions.
Despite what seems like a hellscape for travel, there are many things being done to improve the air travel industry. There are technologies being developed to better detect clear air turbulence. Light detection and ranging, also known as LiDAR, which uses laser scanning technology to detect clear air turbulence up to 20 miles ahead of aircrafts. This technology has been used in some countries in Europe and the United Kingdom, so aircrafts can reduce their speeds as they approach strong winds. There is also a strong push for regulation, especially by airline consumer organizations like Flyers' Rights.
It's pretty clear to almost everyone, even within the industry, the level of service has gone down. About a third of the flights are delayed. Between 1% and 5% are canceled.
It's hell out there. At best, flying is annoying, and at worst, it's downright dangerous. But hey, it still beats sitting in traffic.
Flying is very safe, as we have seen. As I mentioned, we have thousands and thousands of airplanes landing and departing safely every day without any incidents. From the perspective of air travel, I think passengers can be reassured that we have a safe air transportation system.